Okay.
Live?
It's not live. It's not live. It's recorded.
Okay.
Here I'm live. Okay, sorry. David, I'm here. I'm just letting you know that we are starting. Good luck. Okay. Sure. So we
Excuse me.
yes.
You have the link? I will send the rest.
The link for the Zoom I sent in the group.
Yes.
Okay. Let's start with summarization. Trying to summarize the first chapter very quickly. Anything that is relevant to our. I'm just trying to also show the slideshow for you, David. So take me a second. Okay. I sent it in here. What's it? This is strange. This is very strange. One second. I will share. Here it is. No, weekly Tanya. We open the door. What's going on here? This is very strange. I will send it again. Okay, I sent again this link to this. Okay. So, okay. So we have another one in the Zoom. Hello, Roman. Hello, good evening. Okay, we're starting. First chapter, we talked about the first. This is important. This is the first key. Every chapter, Alter Rebbe give us another key to understanding the Jewish inner psyche. Okay. First thing, first key that Alter Rebbe gave us is, and we spoke about it in first chapter, is two souls. There is no two inclinations. It's not that sometimes I'm up, sometimes I'm down. It's not that sometimes I'm good, sometimes I'm bad. No. A Jew have constantly, all the time, the regular Jew, as it's called, the Beinoni, the in-betweener, or there's maybe a better word. And this Jew is the common Jew. He have all the time two souls, two identities inside him that they are pushing to different sides. And we spoke about the core of the natural soul. Natural soul is the first soul that a person has. This natural soul is not bad. It's just natural. It means that it's not pushing for bad things or especially for any good things. It just have instincts. And the instincts are to take care of itself. Like an animal. It's not bad. And we spoke about the origin of the natural soul. It's called klipa, the shell. The shell is basically the source of everything in the world. Everything in the world that we see around us is basically a shell for a purpose. There is a purpose in everything that God created. We don't see the purpose. We see the shell. Now, if we take the thing that God created and use it for not a good use, we like taking a banana, opening it, taking this beautiful shell and throwing the fruit. A waste. Because the shell is good as long as it's done its purpose. And same thing with the natural soul. The natural soul is here to do something. And it's not bad. You just need to use it for its purpose. Today in this chapter 2, we're going to talk about the second soul, the godly soul. Why the godly soul is called the second soul and not the first one? We should think that, the first soul, the godly soul, is the more important soul. But no. Why it's second? For few reasons. First reason is that it's coming second. The first soul that a person, first of all, feel in his consciousness, first glance of me and you, it's natural. It's not godly view. It's not holy view. It's natural. And this is the natural soul. Second thing, it's also coming to the body second. For male, it's coming from the Brit Milah till the Bar Mitzvah. For female, it's coming till the Bat Mitzvah. In stages. And the reason for that, we will talk maybe later, is that the godly soul is resting place in the body, is mostly in the head, in the brain. And the natural soul, its resting place, is mostly in the heart. And the heart is working perfectly since birth. We know it because the child, the first thing he's doing is crying. It's not comfortable, he feels not comfortable, he doesn't want it, and whatever. The heart is working, the emotions are, his mind doesn't work it as complete as it will be. So that's why the godly soul will come later. Okay. As usual, this is the system that we're trying to do here. Every week we're learning a chapter. And we're trying to divide the chapter to 3 parts. Okay? So first part in the second chapter would be the 3 analogies that Alter Rebbe bring to understand the core of the godly soul. Okay? And then second part will be a big analogy that Alter Rebbe moves forward to explain why there is differences in godly soul. And the third part will be about the levush, and we will understand that when we will come to it. Okay. As last week, also I encourage you to see that there is key words to know for this chapter. Okay? So we have few important terms in this chapter, and those are the 5 dimensions of the soul. The soul, every soul is divided to 5. Some of you have participated in some funerals in Estonia. I give it as an example, but in Estonia there is a custom, it's not only here, that we're putting 5 candles at the funeral, and usually it's 3 and 2. It's not in the same. Also, when someone coming to pray in synagogue, for when you have the outside, you're lighting 5 candles, and usually we divide it to 3 and 2, because there is 3 parts of the soul that they are inside the body. As you can see here, it's also divided to 3 and 2. Actually, I can try send the document also for the people participating in Zoom. Okay. We can talk about those things, to understand them a bit more in maybe later. Sorry, I would just try to send a link that also the participant is in Zoom. Okay. Okay. I sent some link. I hope it will work on the group, on the chat. Okay. I will read the second soul, page 37. The second soul in a Jew. Now is the definition. The definition itself is already revolutionary. The second soul in a Jew is a part of God from beyond. In actual fact. Okay? What is the core of the second soul? It's a part of God above. And then Alter Rebbe adds, in actual fact, meaning it's not something that it's holy or it's close to God. Its core is God Himself. This is the core of the godly soul. Now, we will see the analogies that Alter Rebbe explaining, and we will understand it much more after. The Torah, and I'm going to page 38. You see, so it's in the opposite side. The Torah describes how God created all things, including Adam, by simply speaking them into existence. But when it came to giving Adam a soul, rather than speaking, so the verse saying Torah, he exhaled into his nostrils the breath of life. Let me explain very simply. As some of you know, I can speak for hours. And every person have this ability to speak for a long time. And we all know that God created the world by saying, "There should be light," and so on and so forth. But the Torah, and here we see how Torah is accurate. How Torah is accurate is the Torah saying God created Adam, the body, and then God created the soul. And did not say there should be a soul. He exhaled, he blew the soul. What's the difference? How long can we blow a balloon? For a short time. We cannot do it for 2 hours. Why? Because it represents something from within. And this is a core difference. We all know that those words are not literal. They are analogy for something else. So there is one analogy saying that God said, and one analogy said that God blew from the inside. What it's telling us? It's telling us that the source of the godly soul is from a different source. All the world was created from speaking. Speaking representing something that is happening here. It's happening outside of me. It's not me, myself. And the godly soul represents something that is coming from the inside, from the core. That's why the Torah using this word, he blew, he exhaled. Okay. It's to blow, to blow something. This is true not only of Adam, but of the second soul of every Jew. As we say in our morning blessings, may my God, the soul that you have placed within me is pure. You have created it, you have formed it, you have exhaled it into me. We're saying it every day in the morning prayers, talking about our godly soul. Please feel free to ask questions, and also feel free to eat. It's not, it's allowed. Okay. So this is, so now we have explanation from the Zohar for this analogy. The Zohar explains this metaphor of exhaling or exhaling? Exhale. Mm-hmm. When you exhale, it says you exhale from within yourself, meaning from your innermost. When you exhale forcefully, you exert your innermost life energy. This is how the Zohar explained this expression of the Torah. God injected his innermost life energy into Adam, and the same with every Jew. Okay? So this is the first analogy. Now it's not giving us much. Okay? We just understand word. We just understand that it's something from inner God. Okay? The Rebbe is moving on to the second analogy. Second analogy is the second analogy is like a son. Like a son or a descendant, like a son or a daughter. The computer have this habit of checking if we are listening. So we passed the test. Okay. So the son or the descendant will come from the father's brain eventually. If you trace the source of the descendant, in the end, after all, it's coming from the brain of the father. Brain representing the most high place in the identity of the parent. It's not only a technical thing in the body, it's coming from the highest place in the parent. As it's said sometimes in Hasidut, that when someone is ill, unfortunately he doesn't see, he's blind, or he doesn't hear. His son can be perfectly healthy. It doesn't mean that he have the same problem. Why is that? Because the son is coming from a higher level, from a place, from the source of everything. For the parent is something technical in his body, but the son is not coming from this source. It's coming from a much higher level. When in the parent itself, everything is healthy. Understand this analogy? Yeah, makes sense? Okay, so the Jew is called in the Torah like a son. God calling the Jewish nation, it's my firstborn son. What does that mean? It means that the connection between the Jewish soul and God is to the innermost, highest level in God himself. Like a son is connected to the brains of his parents. Okay? The same idea of God, it's all again to explain what is the nature of the godly soul. Okay? What is the nature? The same idea of God placing his innermost within us lies behind another Torah metaphor. The sages say that Israel arose in thought. They mean by this that we are his children. As it says, my children, my firstborn Israel. And you are children of God, your God. Those are two verses that saying that the Jewish nation are children of God. When it's what is the connection between arising in thought and being a child of God? Because a child is abstract from the brain of the father, his most essential, innermost faculty. Again, some people can think, a child, after all, is not coming from my core. It's coming, from my technical. It's a physical thing. No, the physical thing is after it's coming from the core of the parents. Children. That's why children are basically the continuance of their parents. It's not only a physical thing. So that's why Alter Rebbe explained that when we say that we are children of God, it means that we are continuing God himself. And we are connected with the thought, with the brains of God. If he would have one. He doesn't have one. So we need to understand what it means. But it means we are connected with, we are continuing. The godly soul is extension of God himself, of God's brains, of God's thought. Now, what is so important in God's thought, we will see in a moment. So too, this word I will not say. Anthropomorphic.
Anthropomorphically.
What does that mean? Like I know this word in Hebrew.
Like speaking about the body.
Yeah.
Or like man's physical nature.
You sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Because
Anthropomorphically.
I think because of the Hebrew, I think it means something else.
What does it mean?
In Hebrew, there is a word kivyachol. Kivyachol means not exactly, but almost the same.
That's what that word means in Hebrew?
The Hebrew word that it's translated.
Oh, so
I-
it means like similarly?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. I can look it up.
Okay, doesn't matter.
Sure.
We don't need to do it right now.
Okay.
But the soul of every Jew, so basically, similarly, the soul of every Jew is extracted from God's innermost life energy, is quintessential faculty of thought and wisdom. She is not just, she meaning the soul, is not just one of God's thoughts, but something of God's mind, and thinks, and that thinks those thoughts. Okay, so we here comparing the soul to like a child, but the child's coming from the father, from the parent brains. So it doesn't mean that the soul is like thoughts. It means something deeper. It means that it's coming from the mind. So let's try to explain. Other Rebbe will try to explain a bit. Why don't think to yourself, thought. I mean, like God is thinking about the Jewish soul, or Jewish soul coming like thought. By me, thoughts are not so important. I think in million of thoughts a day. Doesn't mean that if the soul is coming from God's thought, maybe it's not so important. You can think that. But it's all because we are humans. And there is a concept in Maimonides, the Rambam, that it's saying that a human, I thought there is here a beautiful slide about that. I don't find it now. Okay. Okay, we'll find it in a second. Here, exactly this. This is it. So it's coming. This is the slide. Okay. The human, when he's thinking about something, okay, there is the knower, meaning the human. There is the knowledge, meaning the thought. And there is the known, meaning what I'm thinking about. When I'm thinking about the papers, that means there is me, there is the papers, and there is the thought. The thought is not me, myself. Okay? We are divided to three things. I don't think we will go very, very deep to this stuff.
Why it moved?
You have a different slides.
We haven't told them.
I'm talking to the Zoom guys. Okay, so it's a bit different slides. I don't know why. Okay, it's all made by AI. I put the chapter 2 of Tanya inside the notebook. It's made. Sure.
That's cool.
Okay. If the meeting will end, then we will do another one. Don't worry. So the human being is divided to three when he thinks about something. It's me, it's my thought, and the thing that I'm thinking about. God, it's all becoming one. God and his thoughts are one, and the thing that he's thinking about is also one. We cannot go very deep why, but we can say the pure explanation. God, his definition is simplicity. He's not divided to parts. He's not the most smart, the most complete. No, he's nothing. He's everything and nothing together. You cannot divide God as a creator to this thing, to this thing, to this thing. No, you cannot even define God as the most smart or infinite wisdom. No, because if he doesn't want to be in wisdom, it's one thing. It's very limited. It can be, he's simple. Because it is simple, meaning he's flat, you can put everything inside. So that's why he is everything. It's not because he have all the good qualities. Because you cannot quantify anything that's connected to God. You cannot say he have this quality this quality is already limiting him. Also the world is part of God, but we will not go into that. It's more. We will meet it much later on. But, so it means, if we just saying this fact, that the knower, the knowledge, and the known, or the person, the thought, and what he is thinking about is one when we're talking about God, we're basically saying that when a Jew is coming from the thought of God, he's coming from God himself. This is the meaning. The godly soul I'm talking about. So, okay, now we're skipping a bit because there is here a side note about the Rebbe. Oh, before that, sorry, let's read it. Divine wisdom and God's imprint in page 40. In what way does God's wisdom represent his innermost? Certainly God is not defined or described by his wisdom. He's beyond any description at all. The answer is that God is wise, but not with a knowledgeable wisdom. Rather, he and his wisdom are one. Rambam explained this unity saying, he is the mind that knows, and he is the knower that knows with that mind, and he is the knowledge that is being known. God is his wisdom, while simultaneously he is God, the one who is knowing through this wisdom. You cannot separate between the thought and the thinker if you're talking about God. And you cannot even separate between what God thinking about to God himself. This is the fact. We will, Tanya, it's every chapter, it's not only understanding what it says, you also understand previous chapters more, because it's a lot of new terms. But this concept is fairly known, and I believe we will understand it better. That's why, as Rambam notes, lucid grasp of this divine intellect is beyond human reach, because it is one of God, and understanding God is beyond our reach. As it said, if you will seek God with your intellect, will you find him? Just the same you can't understand his mind, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, as the heavens are beyond the earth. This is the reason that we say always, we cannot understand God. People saying this usually when there is something that they don't understand happening in the world. But the meaning is much deeper. It's not that God is smarter than you. His all wisdom concept is so different than a human, than anyone that have intellect. Because the intellect is him, but he is not only intellect, he is also love, and he also respect. It's one being that includes everything in the world. Okay. Now, okay, we are in page 42. And let's try to summarize what we have now. This is the first part of the chapter 2. If we're defining the godly soul, and we're trying to compare between the godly soul and the natural soul. Okay? Natural soul, we said it's nature. It's fine. It's not bad. It's not good. It's nature. Godly soul is God. The core of the godly soul is God. Okay, not all the godly soul is God himself. The core of the godly soul is God. What does that mean? It means that in the core of the animal soul, what the person wants? Just wants comfort or to protect himself, like an animal. What it wants?
I have a question.
Sure.
Quick. So, is the natural soul and the godly soul only in Jews or everybody?
In general, this term is for a Jew.
Okay.
The what exactly happening in the non-Jew, in the Gentile, it doesn't talk in Tanya, but we can understand. It's not book for the Gentiles, but we can understand from quotes here and there that they have the same but different. And what exactly the difference is? It's all.
But they also have something beyond a natural soul. You're saying, or
they can maybe reach something, but not in their.
But they don't have God. They
it's
don't
not
have
inside them like the godly soul inside a Jew.
Okay, got it.
This is clear from that.
Okay.
Now, So again, the natural soul, what it seek, not bad, not good. You can teach it to seek bad. You can teach the natural soul to look for goodness. You can teach the natural soul to look for bad stuff as well. But in its core, it's only seek of comfort and nature, not something. Now the godly soul, in its core, it seek God. This is what it wants. Not to do good or to be good. No, it's God. Like the famous analogy, like a flame. The godly soul is like a flame. And the flame, when you bring the flame closer to a bigger flame, it will connect. And eventually even it can have this jump. The small flame jumping to the bigger flame. Now what's happening to the small flame when it enters the bigger flame? Nothing, it ceases to exist. There is only the bigger flame. It's not now that you can find and quantify the smaller flame. No. It means that the flame saying in its nature, I don't care about myself, I only care about the bigger flame. And even if it will mean that I will cease to exist, it's not bothering me. So the godly soul in its core always wants to reach God, to connect with God. That's why, basically, the soul doesn't want to come down to earth. And it's, because the rumors are, when the souls are in the heavens, the rumors are that the earth is not a good place. So this is what they say, it's hard, you don't see God, you don't know Him. So, no. But then the soul have no choice, because God telling it, you go down, you're going down, the soul is coming down, and then it understands something different. It understands that now we can reach higher levels. We can do mitzvot, we can be in the natural soul together, and together we can reach higher levels. Oh, if so, when God wants to take it back, the godly soul say, oh, excuse me, I don't want to go out. So he doesn't want to go in, and he doesn't want to go out. Like the children in the bath. They don't want to go inside the bath, and then they don't want to go. This is life. Sorry, this is my first analogy. But yes. Okay. Okay, now the next part, Alter Rebbe will try to expand this idea of this analogy of children, and to explain to us something that it may be seem not really necessarily to understand, but after this analogy you understand more about the nature of the soul. Now the free reading has ended. Now we need to do another. Okay, once again. Okay. Sorry, it will take me 30 seconds hopefully. Okay. Sorry. Okay. Let's continue. So the analogy of Alter Rebbe is like this. There is the Father, that this is God in our analogy. And there is the children, the Son. Now the Son is continuing his Father. His whole being is a continuance of his Father. Why? Because the Son is coming from the Father and eventually from the Father's brain. Okay, as we said before. Now the Son is not one thing. He's a whole being. He have his head, he have his hands, he have his legs, and he have even the toes, and he have the nails on the toes. And it's all coming from one drop of the Father. Okay? How come? How come that from one point there is so many details? Yes? So the Rabbi explained. What's the question? There is a process. There is a pregnancy time. 9 months that there is the point becoming elaborate and growing till the end you have a whole body of the Son. What this analogy gives. It gives us the idea that the Jewish souls are divided to many parts of a body. And there is souls that they are like hands. And there is souls that they are like legs. And there is souls that they are like hearts. And there is souls that they are like the toes and the nails of the toes. The nails of the toes are representing a place in the body that's also low and also less of life. You can cut it. But they are all part of the body. And now all the body of the Son have its life coming from the brain of the Son. Okay? So we have the brain of the Father. And we have the Son. And now all the parts of the body have a source, the brain of the Son. Why? What does this analogy give us? This analogy gives us how the Jewish nation is working every generation. In every generation, there is a lot of parts. I'm just trying to open this. Oh. The Jewish nation, their souls built from a lot of parts. There is souls that doing a lot of charity. So they are like the right hands of the body of the Son. There is souls that they are running to do a lot of good deeds. There is people that their soul is about feeling. It's like the heart. But there is souls that they are like the brain. The brain is responsible for all the body. Their soul is called general souls. They are leaders. Every generation, there is a leader. And all the body know what to do from the brain. All the body of the Son, the child, know its place from the brain of the child. Basically, the brain of the child, again, is coming from the Father as well. Okay? This is the analogy. But what we learn from this analogy, we will learn a few details. We will learn about Seder Ishtalshelut. Seder Ishtalshelut is a concept that telling us about the 4 general worlds.
But what came from the mind? So everything came from that?
The process.
From the process?
There
It's
is
like
a
transit or what?
No. So there is. Yeah, we can talk about it if you want. I'm just going to see.
Because cannot become everything from the dead.
One of the differences between male and female, according to Hasidut, is that male is in its nature usually is more about the points, less about the details. Understand? Less about the details. I know, yes or no.
It's
Not
science.
and no, what's that? And the female is more about the details, but how, but when, but why, and this is a perfect example. The Father give the seed, the point, and the mother making the process to create from it all the details of the son. Okay? Now, in our analogy, when we're saying that the child is coming from the brain of the parents, we're talking about both parents. But in this analogy, yes, there is the father that gives the point and the process to create what part of the body of the child will be this soul. This soul will be this part, this part, this part. I would say the image of the soul. How does the soul look like? This soul is a toe, this soul is heart, this soul is a liver. What this soul is about, what it's representing, what is this nature of this soul. So this is happening in the process. This process is called seder ishtashelus. Okay? So the brain, the seed, the process, and some of them in the end are the toe. But, so the question is, how can the very same drop of essence from the father's brain create both the son's brain and his toenails? The answer lies in the process. Okay? When we think about, as Alter Rebbe telling, the soul of our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the soul of Moses, okay? Those people, their godly soul was great, was big. Okay? Abraham, because his soul was so great, he gave this to his old descendants. Okay? His soul was great. How can we say that my soul is part of one above, and also of Abraham? So basically, you have the same soul of Abraham. This is what you're saying. So for Alter Rebbe, it's big news, so we need to explain it immediately. So explain, no. Both of our souls coming from the same place. But there was a process. For Abraham, the process was very short. Almost the same that it was above, it was in this earth. And that's why Abraham was a highly level soul. His soul was general for all the Jewish nation, like the brain. And when he felt something, he basically felt all his descendants. Because his soul was so general. But your soul is private soul. And its mission is not brain's mission. Your soul can be a right hand mission. It's very important. Everybody to be complete, it needs right hand. But it doesn't mean that you feel all Jewish. You're connected to everyone because you're one body. But it doesn't mean that you feel all the body. Okay? So this is the analogy. And the process is very important because the process go in general, I don't know if the AI did it in purpose or not, but in general it's going through 4 levels. There is 4 worlds. Spiritual world. And this is also an important concept. We will talk about it for a few minutes. In Hebrew the world's called Atzilut, Bri'ah, Yetzirah, Asiyah. I really hope that we will find translation here. But Atzilut, Bri'ah, Yetzirah, Asiyah means when we say there is 4 spiritual worlds, okay? People start thinking worlds, spiritual world, what does that mean? Multiverse, what's going on? So the spiritual world, they are here. Okay? So we sitting in a physical world, and when we say there is 4 spiritual worlds, we don't mean that there is somewhere else some different kind of world. This is not what it means. It means that, as we said, this world is a reflection of something. It's a shell. Okay? Now there is spiritual forces, energies, holy energies that God created. And there is many levels in them. What makes a level? The amount of how much God is revealed in this feeling, okay, in this energy. A person, a Jew, let's say one day he woke up and he feels great. And he's doing good, one thing and another. In one of those days that happen once in a lifetime. That a person doing one good thing and another, and he feels great. And he sees things in the world and he says, wow, this is a great miracle. Meaning he really went to an atmosphere. Maybe this person now, he's still living with us. It's all fine. he looks normal. But in the spiritual, he lives in a different world, in a higher world. What makes it higher? The fact that he sees God more, he feels God more. Okay. When let's say we talked a bit about the righteous person in the previous chapter, the tzaddik. When the tzaddik will enter this room, he is coming with the most high level world with him. He see the same physical things, but he see the purpose, the source, the life, the source that give life to everything. It's holy source. He see that because he live in a higher world, spiritually. Now the soul doing all this process. What makes it four worlds? There is characters that we can talk about the differences between one world to the other. But the soul doing this process, and every soul receive a level. What level of world is revealed to this soul? Now again, the core of all, that's why every Jew is a Jew, because he have God inside him. But what the process that the soul went through? Some souls is a long process, some souls is very short process. Now we will continue another very important part. And after that we will read. Which Jew have which soul? If you are son of a tzaddik, it means that you have high level soul. If you are son of not of tzaddik, it means that you don't. Absolutely not. And this is, as the Rebbe will say very clearly, sometimes, and actually many times, the soul of the holy soul that went from God straight to the world without any much of a process. Brain character soul, yes, came to the world. But who are the parents? People that don't know anything about Judaism. No clue. And why they received it? Because this soul has extra powers. So maybe it can find its way. So that's why only they receive. So that's why when you look on a person, you have no clue what kind of soul he has. I have no clue. And as we will see later on in this chapter, it's dependent in another topic, but you have no clue. But what you can be sure about is that the source of all the souls is the same. It's the brain of the father, of the parent. Okay? And that means basically that it's part of God above action. Okay? Now let's try to read it. So the Rebbe starts with a question. Yet we find, in page 42, yet we find that not all souls are equal. There are tens of thousands of different sorts of levels of souls, each extending higher and higher without end. If all souls are of one divine origin, and that origin is perfect, oneness, as we said about God thought, that it's one with God himself, how is it that there are different levels of souls? Compare, for example, the great level of the souls of our forefathers and Moses to the level of the souls of our generation. The entirety of all Jewish souls over the ages are a kind of body, in which our souls today are on the heels of Mashiach. We are the heels relative to those souls that are the head and brains of our people. Yes, heel is the back part of the foot, have much less feeling. Yes, and it means that our souls is like heels. Almost you don't feel alive in this part of the body, compared to the souls of our forefathers and Moses. The same is true when comparing souls within any one generation. In every generation, there are those who are called the head of the myriads. What is that word? Myriads of Israel. Okay. Their souls are like the head and brain relative to the souls of the masses and the common people. This distinction persists at every level of the soul. Every soul is comprised of a nefesh, ruach, and neshama. Okay, I will need to explain those terms later. Even when it comes to the lowest aspect, the nefesh, the level that express exclusively in a physical action, some are higher and some lower. I will just say in short what he said in this part. Those terms are here, nefesh, ruach, and neshama, in the first page. We got to it. So the soul, as we said, I will try to make it very quickly because I want to read more. The soul have parts that inside the body, because the soul is not something spiritual. The soul is something spiritual that it enters the body. Okay? Now there is a part of the soul that is being expressed in a physical action. This part of the soul is connected with what I'm doing. There is part of the soul that is connected with what I'm feeling. There is part of the soul that is connected with what I'm thinking, because the soul is in all of my body. And there is two levels of the soul that they are above, they are circling above my body. Again, the 3 and the 2. We said that it's divided to 3 and 2. 3 are inside my body, what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, and what I'm doing. And 2 parts are above the body. So the Rebbe is saying the nefesh, that this is the lowest part of the godly soul, my nefesh and Abraham's nefesh, totally different. We cannot compare. We cannot compare any parts of our souls. Okay, let's continue. Yet, despite all these distinctions, every nefesh, ruach, and neshama of every single soul, from the highest of levels to the lowest, to those souls invested in the bodies of the common people, even the most base and materialistic Jew, are all rooted in the same divine source, that which we call the higher mind, meaning divine wisdom. Again, we said that we come from divine wisdom, that this is God himself, and every Jewish soul is rooted there. To understand that, let's return to the metaphor of a child who emerges from the father's brain. Through a 9-month
gestation.
What is that? It's pregnancy?
Yeah.
Okay. Gestation in the mother's womb, every detail of the child, down to the toenails, emerged from just that one initial sample. Page 44. It stepped through many phases of the diminishing complexity into yet more specific and simpler cells in gradual metamorphosis. I don't know this word.
Shalom. It's change.
Change. Okay, yeah, exactly. People also say this. Thank you. So why not saying change?
No, the same queer hole, I don't think it's actually translated.
Okay. Until it reaches the seemingly lifeless stage of toenails. Yet even then, it remains connected. The toenails are still connected and actually one in a wondrous and powerful bond with its original essence of being, just as when it was an instance of the father's brain. This connection is not only expressed in the genesis of each cell of the fetus. Even when this child emerges as his own being, this core identity endures in every part of him, down to his fingernails. That's because the essential vitality of the fingernails and their experience of life comes to them from the child's brain, where the original sample of the father's brain remains unaltered. Okay. Meaning, in this analogy, the child's brain represents pure connection with the father's brain. The child eventually understand his father, and they have the same mindset in this analogy. So, how the toenail knows that he is the father's son? Because there is a brain. there is a brain. So there is souls that they are so far, like the toenails from the father, that you can cut them and throw them. But as long as they are part of the body, they are connected with the child's brain, and the child brain is connected with the father. So who is the child brain? The leaders of the generation. Okay. Where am I? Right? Indeed, the Talmud, in a passage from Nida Sites in chapter 1, confirms that the toenails do not emerge from some extraneous cause. It states, from the white semen of the father comes the sinews, bones, and nails of the child. From this we see that even the fingernails, as lifeless as they may appear, extend from the same source of the rest of the body. This is also reflected in Kabbalistic level. I mean, we can read the Kabbalistic level, but we will understand it less. So maybe in English it understands better. In Hebrew it's less. Several midrashic sources say that Adam, while in the Garden of Eden, was originally clothed with shiny layer of the same material of fingernails. The inner meaning of is provided in Etz Chaim Shara Achashmal, where it's explained that this was a kind of containment originating in the cosmic mind. Once again, the origin of the most seemingly lifeless part of the body of the brain. Okay, actually very simple. That's saying the reason that we see in some midrashic places that Adam he was all fingernails in the beginning, it was because it's telling us that the fingernails also coming from the same place as the rest of the body. Okay, this is all the analogy. By the way, no one is in the Zoom. Now, okay, sorry. Okay.
Did you tell them to click back in?
I
Or
sent
just
it
end
again.
it? Oh, okay.
We go somewhere and get the brains.
Okay. Okay, so here we see supernal wisdom, the potential soul spark, the descent through the chain of spiritual worlds, and then the diverse level of soul in this world. This is the spiritual reality, and this is the analogy that we just read: father's brain, drop, gestation, and then the difference between souls. Okay. Okay, so here we have a nice slide about the four worlds that I mentioned. Atzilut, godliness itself. The first highest level world, it's called Atzilut. It's in this world, there is no question if there is God, what is God. There, God's presence is totally revealed. Bria is the second one. First stage of creation. What is that? Creator ex nihilo. He becoming some Greek philosopher. Okay, but Bria is creation. Okay? I'm trying to think, maybe it's something in Hebrew, but no. Okay. Yetzirah, this is the next word. In every word there is many levels. This is just a general definition of the word. Being assumed shape and form. Yetzirah, formation. So, in Yetzirah, for example, the world, meaning the creation, is more relevant already from the Creator. In Atzilut, it's only the Creator. In Bria, it's 50-50. In Yetzirah, let's say 75 creation, but 25% there is awareness of godliness. And Asiyah is our world, is action. There is no presence of godliness. It's all covered. Okay, you can discover it, you can feel some of it, but in its core, in its default, you don't see God here. Okay. So this is the it's called Seder Hishtalshelut. Okay. The what is that cascade?
Mhm.
What is that in Hebrew?
קסקיר.
Okay.
זה כאילו מה שבא מלמעלה.
למטה. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. Let's go again to the text, to Alter Rebbe's explaining the analogy, the metamorphosis of the Jewish whole. Okay. Now apply the same model, although in an entirely abstract sense, to the origin of every nefesh, ruach, and neshama of the entire Jewish people. Page 46. The origin of all souls begin above as a raw, pristine sample of God's wisdom, which is one with Him. It then descends level to level through the chain of spiritual worlds. Yes, the as we call it here, the cascade.
אש.
Huh?
אש.
What's the question?
אש זה קסקיר.
Yes.
כן, זה קסה, זה מילה קשה כזו, זה אש.
In Hebrew?
כן.
Eshed?
אתה יכול להגיד מפאי.
Okay.
אבל אשת זה גם מפאי.
Okay, wow.
כן, זה כזה.
I know this word only in Torah. I never heard someone use it. Okay.
אתה יכול להגיד מפאי.
Okay. And then descends level to level through the chain of spiritual worlds, through the worlds of emanation, creation, formation, and action that we just said, the four general worlds, as they emerge out of His wisdom. As it said, you made all of them with your wisdom. It is through this process of descent that the entire spectrum of souls emerges, creating even nefesh, ruach, and neshama of the common people and those of lesser stature. Yet despite this metamorphosis and descent, these souls retain a wondrous, intense bond that unites them with their original essence of being, a sampling of the higher wisdom. The souls always connected with the brains of the Father, with their source. How? They remain connected to their origin because the core vitality and life energy of the nefesh, ruach, and neshama of every one of these simple people is from the nefesh, ruach, and neshama of the tzaddikim, the righteous people, and the sages, the heads of the Jewish people in their generation. Just as every cell, even those of the child's toenails, is fostered by the child's brain. We understand this point. Okay? We understand that the child, this is the second part, the majority of the second part of this chapter, that the souls are always like a body. One body is all the Jewish people. And the souls, in order to continue to maybe you waited for 5 hours, who knows? We don't know how long have you waited, but we're happy you're here. Okay, I will summarize what you learned in the last 20 minutes. I'm just now doing it. So, you're welcome. So the souls, all the souls are one body. There is souls that the fingernails, the toenails. There is souls that they are heart, there is hands, and there is general souls like the brain of the body. Now every Jew is part of this one body. Now, how there is such a difference between souls, that one soul is brain, one soul is body? So it's like a child. Every child that is born, you have a process that from the brain of the father there is one seed that's coming, but in the end of the process there is a lot of levels in the child's body. But also after the birth of the child, all the body of the child knows that he's a child of the father. Why? Because the child also has brains. So the brain of the child is very important, connecting all the body parts of the child with the father. And this is the mission of the leaders of the generations, that they are the brain of the generation, to connect all the body, all the souls with. Now, how they connecting, we have no clue. They can connect with teachings, and they can connect in a spiritual way, because we even don't feel most of the time the godly soul. So we don't know how it's connected with the source, with the father's brain, as we say. But the mission of the people, the common people, is to connect with the brain of the generation. Because then it will help the godly soul that they have inside them to be more powerful. When the toenails know that it's a toenail, it's already a step forward, one step forward, you know. If it doesn't know, it's a problem. Okay? So, bonding through the sages. Let's continue, and with this he finishes this part. Page 47. With this analogy, a teaching of our sages takes on a new meaning. Why? The Torah instructs us to bond with them. What does that mean? With God. The Torah telling us you must be one with God, or to connect with God. And the sages ask, how is it possible to bond with God? This is the question of the sages. And the sages answer, they explain in page 48, that when someone bonds with a Torah sage, the Torah considers that person to be indeed bound with God. Excuse me? What? This is idolatry. You connected with a person, you connected with God. How can it be? So the Rebbe explained, now you know why. Because the sage is the brain of the generation. So your soul connected with its brain. Your soul is a hand, your soul is a toe, your soul is a stomach, but it's connected with the brain of the generation. Now that we have a picture of the origin network of the souls, this teaching is understood in an entirely new light. Bonding with the Torah sage enables the nefesh, ruach, and neshama of the simple people to connect with their own core divine identity, uniting them with their primal essence originating in their higher wisdom. And since he and his wisdom are one, for he is the mind that knows, as we talked earlier, in that union with his wisdom, they are bound up with God. Yes, when a person learning the Torah of the sages, basically connecting with God's wisdom, again is connected with God himself. It's its prime source. Okay.
I have a question actually.
Sure.
We're talking about soul.
Yes.
Soul is coming from father, but my understanding is soul coming from mom actually. We're talking about Jew.
If you're talking about halachic
Yes.
way.
So
You're right.
I be confused here.
No, this analogy,
Or we talk-
the analogy is, as both parents give something in order that the child will be born. So the father gives the seed and the mother doing the process. And this analogy is being used as the same as the source of the child eventually is the father's brain. It's the same thing, every child coming from the father's brain. And every child is still connected with the father because he also has a brain. But every child is divided into so many parts. How it happens? From the process that in the analogy is happening by the mother. Now, so this is the analogy of the souls as we talked. But the halachic thing is something separate. The halachic defining that the Jew, who is a Jew, is a person that is the mother is Jewish. Now, it's not correct. It's two different realms. This is the realm of analogy of how this child that his mother is Jewish, he received the godly soul. That this godly soul had the same process when it came. What process it had? The process of going inside through the four worlds and then coming to this child, and this soul have its own character. That this soul is more about doing mitzvot, or more about learning Torah, or more about giving tzedakah, or more about feeling love to every Jew. So this character of the soul came from the process that in the analogy is by the mother. Okay, but it's two different realms. The realm of halacha is a different, it's not effective. Okay, it's interesting point. Now, we came to the third part of this chapter. Okay, the third part of this chapter is about another thing. But we need to summarize. We said all this chapter we talked about the godly soul. Godly soul, as we said, it's only one of two souls. There is the natural soul and there is the godly soul. The natural soul have its own nature, its own character. And the godly soul have its own holy nature. Or not so holy, after all the process, we even don't know what a person is getting. But in its core, it's very holy. But Alter Rebbe is saying this is not the whole story. And he will expand it more and more. But here he's giving us very interesting point. He's saying that there is, it's written in some places, that in the moment of conception, how the father and mother are acting, this defines the character of the godly soul. This is what it's written in some holy places, holy books, that it's the godly soul is defined by the action, by the holiness, by the purity, by the feelings of the father and mother in moment of conception. And Alter Rebbe said also it's not exactly going well with what I'm explaining. I'm explaining here that godly soul, it's not decided by the action, it's coming through the process and then it's coming to the body. But it's written in some Kabbalic book, in Zohar, that it's according to the purity of the father and mother on time of conception. So how can we say how it's working together? So Alter Rebbe explains something very interesting. That every soul have also, I just want to say how they translate it, clothing. Every soul have a clothing. Meaning, there is the same way as clothing, basically, a person without a clothing is not, you don't know nothing about him. When a person have clothing, you know, this person, when he have sports clothing, you know that he's doing sports. When this person have a officer clothing, you know that he's an officer. And when you have this, so the clothing are a way to the person to represent himself to others. So the same thing, the godly soul, after coming to the body, it also have some clothing. That those clothing, basically, it's his character. And the character of the godly soul, if this person is curious or not curious, is he sensitive for holy things or not? Meaning, let's say the parents are not so pure, they are not, there is some halachic laws where in the moment of conception, when two people are intimate in marriage, a person should not be with none of the partners should be drunk. Or none of the partners would think about someone else. Or none of the partners would be, would not love his partner. Cannot do it without love. This is laws. Why is that? Because the purity of this moment is very, very important. For what? So here Alter Rebbe explained that it's important, that it's not deciding what soul your child have, because you have no connection to this. This is what the process doing and this is what the system decides. This is God. Your action only defining, let's say God sent you a holy soul. Your child is very holy. holy soul he has. But because the parents were not purely intimate, so then the clothing are very heavy. And it means that when he sees something holy, even though the soul inside is crying, oh, this is amazing, but he doesn't feel it. He doesn't know. Because the clothing are very, very materialistic. The clothing are very strong. They're not letting the soul shine. So that's why, as we said, we see person, he have no clue what soul he has. Because it dependent on the clothing, and it dependent on not only the clothing, it dependent, even if the purest clothing doesn't mean that he's righteous. It means that he have more curiosity. Oh, I see something holy, it's talking to him. So this means he have pure clothing. And that means that his parents were pure in time of conception. So it's another important factor if we're talking about how much the person is engaging with his godly soul. Let's see it here. So this is about the sages. Again, the toenails, everything. Diversity is real. Saying, okay, this is great. Okay, but unity is essential. Okay. Okay, so as we said, to be close with the brain of the generation. Okay. Oh, this is the end. He's not talking about the last part. Okay. This is the end of the slideshow of Google. Okay, let's read. Even in page 50, the effect of the parents. Even the circumstance of the soul's entry into life have no effect on the soul's essential quality. True, there is a teaching in the Zohar and the Zohar Hadash, two books, that the most important thing for a soul is that the parent sanctify themselves in the time of their union. They speak negatively of the children of the common people who don't do this. But that's not talking about the soul itself. It's speaking about her clothing. Because there is no nefesh, ruach, or neshama that doesn't have clothing. That clothing comes from the nefesh of the father and mother, co-essence. Every mitzvah that she does, it's funny for me, I don't know why, that they're talking about the soul as female only. This is how it works.
Mm-hmm.
I thought in English there is no male and female if it's not humans.
But I thought they referred to it as she because in Hebrew there's no it. So, you know what I
But it's not Hebrew.
mean? Originally, though.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's fine, but yeah. Okay. Even the flow of life given from above has to come through this clothing. If the parents sanctify themselves in the time of union, they will elicit. What does that mean? Elicit will
Like
bring
forth, yeah.
Okay. Sanctified clothing for their child soul. The quality of this clothing is crucial for the soul. Even if she is great soul, she will still require the sanctification of the father and mother the time of their union. It doesn't mean that if the union was not good and came on a godly soul, it's done. It have no chance. No. It means that it will be much harder. Much harder. But the quality of the soul itself is not affected by the parents. Indeed, sometimes the soul of an inestimably great human being, meaning very, very great human being, comes to the child of despicable and lowly person. It's common. It's common. We all know about Abraham. Abraham, his father, was the chief, the biggest enterprise of idol selling in the country was the father of Abraham. So Abraham had great soul, but his father was not But he had a chance. Because the parents are not deciding what souls their children will have. So, this is the last part of chapter 2. Okay. So, if we're talking again about the core of the difference between godly soul and natural soul. The natural soul taking care of itself. The godly soul only wants God. This is very important to remember. Now, Alter Rebbe explained, and the most important point in this chapter is right in the beginning. The godly soul comes from God Himself. When you speaking with a Jew, you're speaking with a body that have a natural soul, but inside there is a godly soul, but inside this godly soul there is God. This is who you're speaking with. How come there is me and you and this righteous person and this righteous person, this levels, more levels and all, and we all have the same soul? So the core of the souls are the same. It's God. And God is the same. But the process is different. But because of the process, we understand another important part, and this is the part that we need to try to get close to the brains of the generation. The brain of the child is the part that telling the child, hey, you have a father and you are connected to it. The brain of the child telling the toe, listen, you are the toe of me and we are one and we have a father. So this is why we need to be close to the leaders. Now, the tzaddikim. Now, in the end of the chapter, the Rebbe talked about the parents part. The parents part is not about what is the godly soul that the child will receive. It's more about what will be the character, what will be the sensitivity of this godly soul when it see the world. It will be very materialistic, very natural, very simple, or very sensitive for holiness. This is chapter 2. Any questions? Do we feel we understand a bit better the process that's going on? Okay. Slowly, the Rebbe builds up. Yes. Now, the second chapter will be more about the soul itself, how it's built. The soul is built from many parts, and we're going full speed to understand the godly soul and how to interact with the godly soul. Okay. After that, next week. No.
You just did.
I did. It's okay, it's fine. Chapter 2 was divided to 3 parts. First part is about that godly soul is coming from God Himself. And the Rebbe gave 3 analogies about the Father's brain, from God's wisdom, that God's wisdom is one with God Himself. Or from the blowing part, and also like a child that's coming from the father, and child is coming from the father's brain. And then Alter Rebbe gave the analogy about so many levels, as we talked at length. The reason that there is so many levels in souls is because there is one body that divided to many levels, and there is levels of soul that they are like the fingernail, there is the brain of the child. Now, the brain of the child is the responsible soul to connect all the souls to the father's brain. And the last part is about the role of the parents. Got it? It's great. It's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
What's about next week? I will be in Israel. Wednesday.
So no class.
Wednesday definitely I cannot give a class because this is exactly the wedding.
Oh.
I cannot be at the chuppah to say blessing in the chuppah. So probably we will not have a lesson at all. If you want to change to a different day, there's no chance. I'm sorry. No, it's full time. It's all day. Every day we're reading someone else. Rishi Baruch Hashem have her parents, one grandparents, another grandparents. I have my parents there, and another 6 brothers and sisters at Livage. So we're busy full time, unfortunately. But week after, Bezat Hashem. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sure.
It was very illuminating.
Sure. Oh. I record the first part, but I record all the whole lesson in a different form. See. Okay. Now we must finish the food.